Hello everyone, this is part 31 of What If Naruto was in the 7 Ninja Swordsman, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist. To see more, comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Kirigakure. General Abe and the Anbu commander had gathered in the Mizukage's office to make an important decision that would set the course of their nation's future. The veteran officers had finally managed to take their former Kage's children into protective custody, but not before being forced into taking Lord Terumi prisoner alongside many of his clansmen when they tried to oppose that action. The Yuki clan alongside the others had been deterred by that harsh action, giving the two officers time to plan their next move. How are your Anbu doing after knowing what they do now? Asked General Abe honestly. I would be lying if there are not serious voices of dissent, but for now they are following orders. As long as we do not harm the children, they would not revolt just yet, answered the Anbu commander gravely. The children are innocent and will not be harmed at all costs. We cannot punish them for the actions of their father, defended General Abe fiercely. You two seem to have things in control. Both men froze upon hearing that familiar voice, and turning back they came face to face directly with the fourth Mizukage himself. Naruto smirked when he felt them tremble even as they raised their weapons to defend themselves. What are you doing here, Lord Fourth? Asked General Abe hesitantly, and was relieved when Naruto didn't attack them outright despite what had happened. Let's keep this civil if we can help it. Your men outside won't be able to help you for some time, at least since I put him to sleep. The Anbu commander grimaced upon the words, realizing they would not be getting back up anytime soon. He watched the Mizukage offer a surprising nod of respect. I told our army the whole truth, which I guess you both know as well now. To answer your question, Abe, I am here to take my children away from potential harm. It's the least I could do for them, said Naruto with a heavy voice, guilt easily visible on his depressed face. You could have teleported them out of here yourself. I sense there is another reason as to why you are here, Lord Fourth, commented the feudal general cautiously, making Naruto smile. You were always sharp, General. I am here to make an appeal if you can hear me out. Do we have a choice? Asked the Anbu commander begrudgingly, but Naruto ignored that barb and looked at Abe. Things didn't go according to my plan. I failed to unite the shinobi nations against the Otsutsuki threat. They turned on me to protect their own interests and those of their feudal lords. With my truth exposed, I was hoping Uzushiogakure would remain neutral to save itself, but they have joined my side. Honorable but a dangerous choice at the same time, it has also put Kirigakure into a precarious situation. I am prepared to face the consequences of my actions, but would prefer if the ones who followed after me don't suffer for my failures, explained Naruto honestly. I know what you have done to protect Kirigakure, Lord Fourth. To save us, you became a devil in the eyes of the world, said General Abe sadly, earning a thankful smile from the Mizukage. I owe a lot to this nation and its people. I only wish I could have been able to do more and avoid this situation completely if possible. But since it has come to this, I am left with no choice. The fourth Mizukage explained truthfully as to what threat the Otsutsuki truly were to humanity, along with what he was planning to achieve with Madara. It became even more clear to General Abe and the Anbu commander as to how grave the situation truly was. The safest course of action for Kirigakure would be to stay away from this war. Secure our borders and preserve our best legions. If I win, there would be no more conflicts among humanity. And if I am defeated, the allied shinobi forces would still be battered enough to not launch any reprisals against Kirigakure immediately for staying neutral. I'll make sure of that. Still, that may not be enough, so I want you to denounce me publicly. In exchange for staying neutral, offer the allied shinobi forces the location of where I am holding all the Jinchuriki with the tailed beasts mountains graveyard. If that is also not enough, send the 7 ninja swordsmen after me, proposed Naruto. Or we could just ally ourselves with them fully and hunt you down, challenged the Anbu commander, earning a cold smirk from the Mizukage. You can do that, but with the speech I just made to our army, you'll end up with a civil war among your own ranks if you side fully with the allied shinobi forces. General Abe didn't doubt the Mizukage's ability to connect with the hearts of the shinobi of Kirigakure. Even after everything that happened, there would still be thousands willing to fight for him. Even now, when his plans had gone awry, he was always thinking a step ahead of them all. He looked at the Anbu commander and saw the man clenching his fist, as even he couldn't deny the prospect of a civil war among their own nation if they sided against a Mizukage loved by many. "You're doing this to protect Uzushiogakur and Kirigakur at the same time," said General Abe respectfully, making the blonde Kage nod gravely. "I don't want Kirigakur to attack Izu. If that happens, I will be forced to intervene to protect the nation where I was born. And I do not want to end up confronting and killing my own men unnecessarily. Most importantly, I want Kirigakur's legions to remain intact. If the Otsutsuki truly arrive in the near future to destroy us all, you will need every one of them to defend humanity," admitted Naruto with a heavy heart. The Kirigakur officers watched their Mizukage glancing at the village in all its glory with a content smile upon his lips. "It's been a hell of a ride." Upon hearing those words, for some inexplicable reason the Anbu commander felt a sadness within his heart which helped to wash away some of the bitterness he felt over the Mizukage's real truth. "May and all the other Jinchuriki will be returned back alive to their respective nations, I'll make sure of that. If the allies win, then too they will be saved regardless," promised Naruto sincerely, even as he continued staring at the village. "You're not coming back from this, are you, Lord Fourth?" asked the Anbu commander sadly, making the Kage turn back towards them with an extremely calm look present in his undeterred gaze. "We all make this journey sooner or later." General Abe teared up upon hearing that and on seeing their Mizukage removing his famous haori from his back, followed by handing it to the two men before him respectfully. "Kirigakur has been good to me. It's time I return the favor." As the two officers accepted the haori, they saw Naruto offering him a final respectful nod. "Make this count." The fourth Mizukage teleported away with those last words as a lone tear fell from General Abe's eyes as he clenched his fist. "We will, Lord Fourth." Uzushiogakur. Hanzo Uzumaki had never imagined he would ever see the light of day again after his actions in the past had been revealed to his people by the revived Spartans and Inoue Namikaze. However, fate had other intentions and he again found himself being asked to oversee the defense of his country as Uzushiogakur entered a conflict that could destroy its existence forever. The decision was reckless, but he could also understand where their clan was coming from. The Uzumaki were a tight-knit family. Having realized just how they had failed in aiding the Spartans in the past must have made them determined to not let history repeat itself. A part of Hanzo's heart felt the same, if only to redeem himself for all he had done to those warriors in the service of his own interests and those of Izu. He had been overseeing the coastal defenses preparation from a nearby shore when he felt a familiar presence appear beside him. "I really envy your ability to teleport," he commented with a light chuckle, which earned him a faint grin from the blonde warrior beside him. "How goes the defense preparation? I'm glad the clan managed to ignore your past actions, for they will need your experience to thwart any invasion from the allied forces. With my mother and the Spartans fighting alongside me at the front line, you are the senior, most experienced leader we have here," said Naruto honestly. "We can hold out for some time, but we both know it's delaying the inevitable. The only hope for Izu is your victory. Anything less and we all shall join you in death," answered Hanzo without hesitation. "I won't let that happen, no matter the cost. Neither will the Spartans and my mother." Hanzo was relieved when he saw that familiar fire in the Mizukage's eyes as he made that promise. "I'm sorry it turned out this way. I know you tried your best for humanity. Maybe we simply aren't ready for real change peacefully. Your revolution might hold a solution which we ourselves cannot reach," suggested Hanzo. "Maybe. If I succeed, it will stop our infighting and force us to unite. But it will not be enough. Humanity cannot get complacent. There is a vast universe out there waiting for us to explore alongside great enemies and perhaps even friends. We must continue building our strength, improve our technology, which will be the key to our survival against any advanced threats of all forms. Uzushiogakur must lead that path. The chakra armor is one such innovation. We'll need many more to give our people a chance, and as loath as I am to admit, humanity will need elite warriors like the Spartans to defend itself. Just don't burden the children with that duty, otherwise all of this would be for nothing. It is up to us adults to bear that responsibility so they don't have to," explained Naruto seriously. Hanzo couldn't help but look at the man beside him for a few long moments, especially since he remembered how he had been as a boy. You have come far, Minato. Despite everything that happened in your life, you have always devoted your heart to a greater cause. Be it country, family or your comrades. Now you have all your dreams for the sake of humanity's future, even if it ends with your life turning to ash beyond this sea of ours. We will not let it all go in vain, promised Hanzo, earning a thankful nod from the Spartan captain. Hanzo watched as he was offered the familiar Spartan salute, one which the former Azukage returned respectfully. For you, we give our heart. The next part of his journey was perhaps the hardest, yet that didn't stop Naruto from making it. As he entered his old family home while holding his twin children in his arms, he was greeted by the sight of Yahiko Uzumaki looking at him in surprise. His adoptive father just gawked at him and then at the twins in his arms even as the Mizukage entered inside. It's been a long time, father, said Naruto awkwardly. Minato, whispered Yahiko in disbelief as the last time he had seen this person was when he had been a young boy. Now he was holding two young children of his own in his arms, which was something Yahiko found it difficult to wrap his head around. Regardless of his feelings, he helped his adoptive son get his children settled and just looked at the beautiful twins with a renewed sense of joy and satisfaction. He soon turned towards the fourth Mizukage and engulfed him in a fierce hug which made the younger man tear up as he returned the gesture. I'm sorry for not being there for you. Maybe if I had then everything Inoue and Nagato told me that you went through could have been avoided, apologized Yahiko sincerely, regret ever present in his saddened voice. His attempt at heartfelt apologies was respectfully rebuffed by the young man before him even as he guided Yahiko to take a seat. You look mostly like your mother, although there was always a presence of your real father's be in you, said Yahiko honestly. You are the one who raised me even if I was not your be. Although I don't think I could have a large heart like you, replied Naruto gratefully. It was hard not to adore you, Minato. Ever since I first met you, there was something about you that made me feel something indescribable. I was a war orphan, my parents had in the clan wars era when I had been very young. The clan raised me, I loved Inoue ever since she came into my life, but I saw some of my old self in you and I just didn't want another kid to grow up without a father's care like I did. I was never an exceptional shinobi like your mother or many of my clansmen, could never really change the messed up world we lived in, but even with what little power within me, I wanted to raise my own family and protect my comrades, confessed Yahiko sheepishly. Father, I couldn't protect mother or Nagato like you asked. Nor could I save my comrades and ended up disgracing our family. Strength and honor, you taught me those values and yet I never really could make them a part of my actions, lamented Naruto, only to earn a hard S on his head much to his disbelief even as Yahiko gave him a harsh glare. Stop blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong in life. For all your powers and skills, you are just a man. Not a god. Did you make mistakes? Yes. Did you fail many times? Yes. Did your plans go wrong? Happens with every person. Did you quit and be about how life has been unfair? No. Naruto was taken aback by the ferocity in Yahiko's words, equally matched with the grim determination and respect he saw in the older man's eyes. My son suffered, but he fought like a lion. Against all our enemies, our own corrupted leaders, and the entire shinobi world. Your actions directly resulted in all of your family and precious comrades returning back from death. How many people could honestly accomplish that? None that I know, said Yahiko proudly. And now mother, Nagato and the Spartans are fighting alongside me. My only solace is the fact that mother asked you to stay here, at least some of my family will be safe. And you're the only one I can entrust my children to, admitted Naruto, but Yahiko shook his head much to his surprise. I will look after your children for as long as I live. But you must accept something if you are going to face what no man has ever faced before, the might of entire humanity. And what is that? Asked Naruto honestly. That you're a Spartan. So are the comrades who follow you. You all were made to fight for a divine cause. I can see it now, you are the best of what humanity has to offer. Doing the impossible has always been your specialty, no matter the cost you must free humanity from its own shackles. Your true family believes in you and your cause, as does Uzumaki and I as well. It's not just about what you want anymore, maybe none of us will live to see the future we are fighting for. But it's worth it, for them, said Yahiko with determination, as he pointed at the twins sleeping peacefully. He was pleased to see when his words did reach his elder son as he gave a firm nod. For our children, agreed Naruto wholeheartedly, as he got up from his seat, making Yahiko do the same and offer him his hand. Go out there and lead your men into hell. Achieve victory at any cost. Naruto nodded even as a faint smile came upon his lips as he hugged Yahiko one last time before walking towards his children. As he looked at their innocent and beautiful faces, a part of him didn't want to leave. A selfish voice inside his heart whispered how he could have lived a peaceful life within Kirigakure had he not tried to rally the world against the Otsutsuki threat. He could have been with Mei and his children, loved as a hero by Kirigakure, and maybe lived a peaceful life for the rest of his days. Or if fate had been kinder, he could have someday went with Ino back to Konoha and lived a life of peace that they had dreamed of together with the unborn child they lost. Or maybe he could have just been given a chance to live a life of peace in a zoo with his family and friends, maybe married Kushina and had the family they had dreamed of having together once upon a time. Yahiko was deeply saddened but kept his silence when he watched tears falling from Naruto's eyes as he held his children for several long moments, before the warrior inside him remembered all the blood that had been shed to reach this point, the threat humanity faced that endangered the survival of his own children. Guess I got what I deserved for the sins I have committed, thought the former Mizukage with acceptance, as he remembered the innocent civilians of Osaka that he in vengeance and the unfortunate civilians that got annihilated in Awagakure's destruction. Remembering those events strengthened his resolve even more than before, as such and sins had to end. Only then could his son and daughter be free from such horrors. Steeling himself, he placed his children back in their beds and turned towards Yahiko, whose final words earned a cold and firm nod from the blonde warrior. Give em hell, Spartan. As Naruto finally vanished away, Yahiko allowed the tears to arrive in his eyes as he walked towards the twin hopes which his son had entrusted him with. Land of Fire. He had been about to return back to their hideout when he had sensed an emergency signal from a familiar source. One that he didn't expect to hear from again. A part of him wondered if it could be a trap, but another remembered just whom he had given this mark to. His assumptions were proven correct when he found himself teleported to an unremarkable but peaceful farmland that was situated close to a small lake. A wooden cabin was situated not far away, and he could sense one of the coastal cities from the Land of Fire a few miles away. I didn't know if you'd come. A cool breeze flew past him as he saw Ino waiting for him outside the cabin with a welcoming smile that eased some of the pain within his broken heart. How could I not when it's you? He asked honestly. As she walked towards him, he wondered if she really knew what had happened, considering she was living out here in the wilderness on her own. Considering what she went through, it was no surprise she found a quiet place for herself to live in peace. I heard what happened at the Cage Summit. I am so sorry, whispered Ino comfortingly as she wrapped him in a tight embrace, one which he returned without hesitation. It's done and there can be no turning back now, he admitted, even as he buried himself into her embrace. They stayed in each other's arms for a few priceless moments, even as Naruto's thoughts drifted towards his wife for a moment. After what had happened, their marriage was as good as over, and considering the path he was upon, Mei could not follow even if she still wanted to, especially for the sake of their children. Out of everyone in his life, he felt deeply regretful for not being able to devote himself to Mei as she had done to him. It was just another addition to his rather long list of failures. As he broke the hug, he allowed Ino to take his hand and walk them towards the outside of her cabin, where they gained seats on chairs that she had placed beforehand. It's a nice place, I must say, said Naruto with a faint smile, as he looked at the beauty of nature all around him. I wanted this for the two of us. I still do, she confessed, much to his surprise as he looked at her. Even after all that has happened. What the world considers me? He questioned straightforwardly. The heart wants what it desires. Besides, I know the real you no matter what propaganda the shinobi world tries to play. You even agreed to stop the Second Great Ninja War, agreed to a Cage Summit, and peacefully tried to rally all nations because I wanted you to go that way. Even when I distanced myself from you, confessed Ino, guilt easily visible in her saddened voice, which earned her a gentle squeeze of her hand which he still held in his own. I'm happy that you did, for where I am going you cannot follow, whispered Naruto kindly. What if I want to? His eyes widened upon hearing those words, and when she looked at him earnestly, he knew she was not joking around. Ino, I needed some time to adjust to my new reality. I could never go back to being a leaf shinobi after how it ended for me last time and what they did to you. I tried being a civilian living in a city but felt too alone even among so many people. So I came here to find some solace, built this cabin. It was peaceful but I still missed something very dear and important in my life. Someone with whom I could enjoy this bliss and spend the rest of my days. It was you, Naruto, admitted Ino, even as a faint blush crept upon her cheeks. You're asking Naruto the greatest general in the world to become a simple farmer on this land with you? Asked Naruto teasingly with a mischievous glint in his eye, which only elicited a fit of giggles from the stunning blonde beauty beside him. Would it be so bad? Asked Ino with a smile, and was satisfied when he leaned back in his chair to look at the land before him. War is all I have known my entire life. I've had enough of it, so being a farmer after all I have gone through seems like a much better choice. But you and I both know that I'm not gonna get that ending, said Naruto in resignation. Not if I can help it. He was taken aback by the fierce determination in her eyes as she looked at him. Ino then came a little closer to place her hand upon his cheek. You are the man who brought me back from the afterlife with your and actions. You found enough warmth in your heart to never forget me and continue loving me till this day even though my actions got our child K in the name of protecting Konoha. Ino, you don't have. The Yamanaka Kunoichi shook her head vigorously even as her eyes started to become moist which made the former Mizukage to lean closer to her. I need to say this, Naruto. You let me go when I said I needed time to figure things out for myself even though I could see in your eyes that you wanted me in your life. You have always loved me unconditionally and I want to return that affection with my whole heart. When I was the last thing I remembered feeling was the life I could have had with you if things had gone well. I want to be with you, irrespective of my past and former loyalties for I love you with all my heart, said Ino seriously. He didn't want to but ended up tearing up himself a little upon hearing that confession. For he too had loved her with everything in his heart and soul. They call me a demon, Ino, he reminded her, if only to make her see the reality of his situation one last time. Every demon needs a witch, she responded with a smirk, which made him blink for a moment before he laughed heartily which warmed her heart for there were very few instances when she had seen him truly happy like this. I've never lost a battle, and yet I can't seem to win an argument with you, he joked, making her smile in triumph. Shows who the real general is in this relationship, teased Ino shamelessly. It made him chuckle for a moment before he looked at her seriously and she didn't flinch away when she guessed what he was about to say. Forget me please, Ino. I am grateful for your love and loyalty, but only death awaits you in the end if you choose to fight by my side. My Spartans and my mother are too stubborn to back down and won't listen to me, but you are the one I can still save. I have been through your death once. I'm not strong enough to endure it again, he confessed hesitantly. Would you have done everything in your power to stop me from when I did? She countered, making him sigh. We both know the answer to that, he relented, earning a firm nod from the former female spy. I chose my country over you and everything we both held dear once. It only caused suffering to the few who truly loved me and the loss of our child. I'll fight by your side so that we both get to see the peaceful future we always dreamed of, and if death is to be our fate, then I'll walk alongside you through that door and we'll see our lost child together, promised Ino fiercely. She saw her words having a deep impact on him as his eyes widened and some much-needed relief arrived in his earlier resigned gaze. You have a way of giving me hope even when there is nearly none left. Hell, you've even made death seem like freedom to me along with the chance to fight and live the future we want, admitted Naruto with a faint smile. I have to considering you are the pessimist among the two of us, taunted Ino. Guilty as charged, agreed Naruto. Ino was satisfied when she saw his reluctance finally vanishing away and taken over by his familiar determination as he looked at her seriously. In that case, I have a mission for you. One more suited to your talents rather than frontline combat for which I already have the Spartans and my little army to back me up. I'll provide you a small task force for this assignment, some of the better Zetsu fighters. Ino listened as he explained the exact nature of her mission and realized its importance by the time he told her everything. Should we fail, your mission's success will be responsible for breaking the corrupt, twisted order in the shinobi world. These targets need to be neutralized at all costs. I would have done so myself if I didn't have the responsibility of holding the allied shinobi forces at bay for as long as possible, he confessed frankly. Then I'll get it done, no matter what. She promised with an iron-clad determination present in her voice, earning a wry smile from him. You sure you're not a hidden Spartan yourself? I did just give you a mission, teased Naruto. I married one, does that count? Retorted Ino with a smirk. It does, he replied with a pleased smile. They both looked at each other for a few long moments before he came forward to place an affectionate K upon her lips. I should go, he stated reluctantly. Stay for a little while longer, please, she requested. For a moment, Ino wondered that he would refuse, but he didn't do that and instead just gave her a nod as they both looked at the greenery around them in silent peace. She held his hand in her own and could see the thoughts about the upcoming battle clearly lurking in his distant gaze. You guys never hesitated in stepping up, she commented. Huh? He asked curiously. You and the Spartans, even your mother. How do you do it? Aim for the impossible against all odds without a thought of self-preservation even once? Asked Ino seriously, which made him look at the sky with a smile. It's what we were trained for, maybe even born for. Living your life for the cause. Country and clan first, comrades first, it's all just expected, admitted Naruto, earning a respectful nod from her along with another curious question. Do you ever wonder what your life could have been, had you not been chosen for the Spartan program by Azu? Questioned Ino, making him chuckle. Many times. There were moments when I had wished for it so badly and cursed my leaders in Azu, but now I can see why they went ahead regardless. I don't approve it, but I cannot deny the results it achieved or how it made me the man I am today. I guess what I am trying to do now may look just like a similar draconian action to the rest of the world, the same way many Uzumaki felt towards their leaders when they learned the truth of what the Spartan program had done to their children, said Naruto honestly. Even as he admitted that, he couldn't help but realize the peace deep within his heart as he discussed these things with her. With Ino, he could be himself with all his weaknesses and vulnerabilities. I love you, Ino. She blinked upon hearing those heartfelt words and her heart nearly melted away when she saw the happiest smile upon his face as he looked at her. In an instant, she had closed the distance between them and given her reply in the form of a passionate K as he held her close to him. Even if this bliss would only last for a while, even if they were both going to head into hell soon, he was never more happy than now, for she had given him peace in a lifetime of war. Konoha. Tobirama had been staring at the moon in the sky, wondering about the future. From the window of his residence, he could see the village was bustling with activity even at this late hour as their shinobi along with many others from various nations were making their final preparations. As Supreme Commander, it was his responsibility to lead these once divided groups, and the task was more daunting than anything he had ever faced before. More importantly, he was wary of whom he was going up against. For all intents and purposes, there was no fighter in his army including himself who was strong enough to defeat Madara Uchiha in battle. It was why he had ordered the mobilization of every single Uchiha above the age of 8 to fight in this war, for they would need every Sharingan to face that man. More importantly, he had established contingency plans to deal with that monster should he step on the battlefield. But what concerned him even more than Madara was his own son. For all his mistakes and bad decisions, including the one of siding with Madara, the second Hokage could not deny that Naruto Namikaze was a fearsome warrior and an even cunning general. His army were made of monsters that were not human and didn't adhere to conventional warfare, having demonstrated a chilling example of that during Iwa's M. What was even more troubling than them were the Spartans. Tobirama had personally seen what those super-para special forces had done in the past. With the survival of their nation and leader at stake, they would fight more fearlessly than ever. Despite the young age, they were bred for war and were better trained than most special forces troops under his command. Even Inoue and any Uzumaki that had joined that army would be a credible threat. His only solace was the fact that Kirigaku's leadership had just sent him an official communique. They had publicly disavowed their Mizukage's actions at the Cage Summit and expressed shock as well as regret over discovering his true reality. Having lost their own Jinchuriki and the tailed beasts at Naruto's hands, they were committed in getting them back and saving their honor. However, instead of their fearsome army, they were sending the 7 ninja swordsmen to fight alongside the allied shinobi forces. Despite the truth, there are many in our army who still feel loyalty towards our former Mizukage. We cannot risk them switching sides in the middle of the war and putting our nation in an even precarious situation. As such, we are sending you our village's finest warriors instead, whom we can trust to do the right thing and ones who know Naruto better than anyone else. Our intelligence has also discovered that he has taken all the Jinchurikis in the lands of the mountains graveyard. That was General Abe's decision, the current de facto leader of Kirigakure, until they were able to appoint the next Mizukage. Such a controversial choice had earned a mixed response from the allies. Some like Iwagakure were furious and wanted Kirigakure to pay for their hesitance to fully commit to the cause. Others like Konoha and Omegakure alongside the samurai were content for now to not have Kirigakure's forces joining Naruto instead. The help of the 7 ninja swordsmen would indeed be better than having nothing at all. Most importantly, Kirigakure had now given them an actual location where their enemies were hiding. Where they had kept Mito. Tobirama clenched his fist bitterly when he remembered how she had been treated and taken right before his eyes, how Hiruzen and all the people in Iwagakure had been mercilessly butchered. Kirigakure had been wise to share the critical information, otherwise he would have personally seen to its destruction once their immediate enemies were dealt with. The absence of the Kirigakure navy, however, meant that Uzushiogakure would not be attacked immediately, which was fine with him, for he didn't want to destroy an old ally who had lost their way as well as Mito's home. The hardliners in Azu would be dealt with once they had managed to stop Madara and Naruto first. His eyes widened when he felt a familiar but haunting sensation. It couldn't be. Using his teleportation, he vanished from his house only to arrive at the top of the Hokage mountain, where he found Naruto Namikaze waiting for him patiently. The rage and disappointment in the Senju leader's eyes didn't deter his son, who looked at him without a flinch. You have some nerve in coming here. More importantly, how did you get past our defenses? Growled Tobirama furiously. Do you truly think you can stop me from going where I want? Challenged Naruto, making Tobirama grit his teeth. You're a monster, I can see it now. No cage can hold you back, and only death will be justice for your sins, cursed Tobirama. I am not here to trade insults or blame, replied Naruto calmly. Then why are you here? Because from where I stand there is nothing left to say, said Tobirama icily. If you are making Konoha fight for Mito, then there is no need. She will be returned back alive once we have the tailed beast. Thousands of your shinobi don't need to S for that, proposed Naruto, only for Tobirama to laugh. Is that why you came here? To offer concessions? It's too late for that, not after what you have done. More importantly, we are against everything you stand for. More than getting the tailed beasts back, your vision for humanity is something I don't agree with alongside the rest of the world. At one point, you felt the same, said Tobirama fiercely. That was before everything that happened and the threat we all face in the near future. I can see humanity will never unite even in the face of an external threat as grave as the Otsutsuki. As long as the corrupt shinobi world and short-sighted cages rule alongside your selfish daimyos, there can be no peace or unity. I will not let such people destroy the future my children and all of humanity deserves, argued Naruto, conviction ever present in his fearsome gaze. You deal in absolutes. Who gave you the divine right to determine humanity's future? You are just as evil as the system you are trying to destroy. Those words hurt more than any blade ever had, alongside the disgust that he saw in Tobirama's eyes for him. For a moment, Naruto wondered how the father who gave him life couldn't understand why he was doing this, as opposed to the father who raised him. You are right about one thing. It's too late for either of us to back away from the path we are walking on. Deep down I knew there was no way I could stop you from joining this war, confessed Naruto. Then why did you come here? Asked Tobirama coldly. Guess I wanted to see you one last time for the next time we meet. We shall be enemies, admitted Naruto hesitantly. You are still my enemy now. Tobirama wanted those words to hurt, and for a moment he saw they had when Naruto looked wounded, only to give an understanding smile a few seconds later before looking at the village before them. He saw shinobi from various nations actually working together and making preparations. The former Hokage had hoped that sight would have unnerved his son, but instead he smiled even more happily. Are you ready to face the might of entire humanity? For we shall give you no quarter, warned Tobirama without any mercy, making Naruto turn towards him and offer a confident salute. We'll fight you regardless. For the first time, the anger and hatred within Tobirama's heart subsided a little upon seeing that determination. He knew Mito, despite everything that had happened, would have still advocated him to show compassion had she been here. When he looked at the young man before him and the salute he was offering, he saw a glimpse of the son he had cherished once within his heart. I'll see you on the battlefield, General Namikaze. Naruto's eyes briefly widened as he realized the hidden meaning behind those words. His eyes became moist when he saw Tobirama hesitantly returning his salute. Even if their views were different, even after everything that had happened, this was Tobirama's way of acknowledging him. For even enemies could respect each other's skill and conviction if nothing else. Thank you, father. Tobirama trembled a bit upon hearing those words and only allowed a lone tear to fall from his eye when his son teleported away. There was nothing more left to say, and the only thing that remained was their final war. Yagura Karatachi looked at the giant demonic statue as it finished absorbing the entirety of the two tails, making its former Jinchuriki collapse completely against her bindings as she passed away from the world of living. As he watched Black Zetsu and his minions turn towards him next, the former Mizukage only had a relieved smile upon his face. Yagura, why? Asked Mei hesitantly, even as some of the other Jinchuriki who were awake, including Mito, also glanced at the former cage. This is freedom, Mei. I can finally see my clan and loved ones again in the afterlife. I'm just glad I got to choose at least the way in which I go out. Hell, if I'm lucky then perhaps something good may just come out of this, replied Yagura honestly. Your S shall be remembered, Yagura. Mei's eyes widened when she heard that familiar voices from one of the darkened corners came Naruto himself. He was wearing a new set of armor which was unlike anything she or anyone else had ever seen before. Black Zetsu merely nodded at his presence as the fourth Mizukage glanced directly at her and the remaining Jinchuriki. If things go well, Madara will bring you all back to life once the tailed beasts are extracted from you and our mission is completed. It can never make up for what I have done, but it is the least we can do for making you go through this, said Naruto honestly. I'm done, Naruto. Let me go and be with my family. You promised me that when you sought my cooperation for your plan. And I delivered, said Yagura seriously. Very well, relented the fourth Mizukage, earning a relieved look from the Karatachi clan leader. Are the children safe? Naruto found it hard to meet Mei's saddened and angered gaze, but he mustered all the courage in his heart to do so, only to see the pain and betrayal evident in her eyes. Yes. Kirigakure was about to take them hostage and detained your father and your clansmen when they tried to resist that. As such, I had to intervene and take him away to Azuchiogakure where my adoptive father Yahiko is watching over them. The allied shinobi forces are not in a position to launch an attack on Azu right away, considering Kirigakure has decided to remain mostly neutral in this war, except for sending the 7 ninja swordsmen after me, said Naruto honestly. Then whoever made that choice had a far better foresight than you did, replied Mei harshly. To his credit, Naruto accepted that remark with a nod and chose not to reveal it was he himself who had set General Abe and Kirigakure upon that path. It was better Mei distanced himself from his actions instead of being considered as his accomplice, at least that way the children would at least have one of the parents by the end of this entire ordeal. Hopefully, that is. I deserved that. It's true that my plan to rally the nations peacefully failed and no apology will be enough against the pain I have put all you Jinchuriki through. Even so, I would like to say I am sorry that it came to this, confessed Naruto, as he looked at the Jinchuriki as well as the ones that lived. For those still awake, none chose to respond to that apology, which was another subtle insult which the fourth Mizukage easily recognized but didn't call him out upon, not that he had a right to in the first place. Naruto, there is no coming back from what you have done. Not after all the lives that perished because of you and Madara in Iwagakure, said Mei sadly. It's war. She was quite surprised by those words. The auburn-haired beauty clearly saw regret in those eyes of his, but not a hint that he wanted to do things differently if he could go back in time in that moment. I have failed in nearly everything. As a husband most of all, you deserve better, he apologized honestly. Mei didn't know what to say to that, knowing that their marriage was completely destroyed now. It had certainly not been what she had imagined in her naive youth, but not that bad either, for there had been precious moments when they had connected with each other. They were fewer than she would have liked, but still there. Looking at that same man and the resigned yet determined look in his eyes along with knowing what was coming, she had a feeling as to why he was here. This is goodbye, isn't it? She asked hesitantly, sadness ever present in her heartbroken gaze. A single yet solemn nod was his only response, which made her tear up a little. Then win and give meaning to all these deaths and suffering. You owe it to all of us. I will, promised Naruto without hesitation, even as he exchanged a final smile with his estranged wife before looking at Lady Mito, who looked back at him without any hatred in her eyes. I'm sorry it came to this. The older Uzumaki matron nodded in resignation at the fourth Mizukage's words before looking at him with a burning hope in her eyes. Can you promise me one thing at least? She asked. What is it, Lady Mito? Spare Tsunade and Tobarama's life if you can. They are the only family I have left, requested Mito desperately, making Naruto sigh a little before he looked back at her. I can't promise much, but I will instruct my forces to leave Tsunade alone or restrain her should she get in the way. I will not let her get K, it's the least I can do as her uncle, agreed Naruto, making Mei feel a little relieved, for she saw a fleeting glimpse of the man she had fallen in love with a long time ago. Mito seemed equally relieved before looking at the young blonde before her once again. And Tobarama, as generals of our respective armies, it is inevitable for one of us to be defeated. He is a foe I cannot underestimate and must defeat at all costs. Even if it means K him, answered Naruto truthfully. He's your father, reminded Mito sadly. And I am his only son. Yet when push came to shove, we both picked our sides. It's inevitable we are going to end up facing other. He fights for his beliefs and I'll fight for mine. You can't hope for a happy ending in a cruel world like ours, Lady Mito, replied Naruto with determination ever present in his hardened gaze. With a final nod towards the older woman, Naruto turned around to walk away when he saw Black Zetsu staring at him. We still need at least a week to complete all the sealing. Keep the enemy at bay until then no matter what, he said frankly, earning a nod from the former Mizukage. Then you shall have it. We Spartans are good at holding the line, promised Naruto, making the dark creature smirk. I wish you good fortune in the war to come, General. A pleased smile arrived on his face when he saw the fierce determination that arrived in Naruto's eyes, as he had now settled all his loose ends and was now ready to do what he was best at. Save that for our enemy, Zetsu. They're gonna need it. With those final parting words, Naruto Namikaze marched to war. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.